Hi everyone, I thought I would do a different type of video today, and it's a segment that I might add in occasionally to my YouTube channel called Throwback Thursday, where I dig deep into the depths of pieces that I have stitched years ago and do not necessarily display them anywhere in my home, but I still have them, I still treasure them, and I thought I would share them with you. So today, I'm bringing you Noah's Ark, circa 1994-95 to 2001. My husband and I decided with the birth of our son that we would decorate his room with a Noah's Ark theme. Now, we didn't exactly get started on this theme prior to the birth or immediately following the birth because of our situation of him being in the military and moving all the time, and it seemed like summertime was the prime PCS time for us, meaning that every 2 years, so at some point during the summer, we would move. And as a matter of fact, I think my son celebrated his birthday more times than not on the road from one location to the next. Anyway, all that being said, I want to share with you some pieces, and in some cases I still have the actual pattern. In some cases I may not. But the beginning item I would like to share today is by the Drawn Thread. It's called Noah's Prayer. This is the design, and here is my finish. It's a birth sampler, and I believe I completed this in, actually I think I completed it in 95, even though my son was born in 1994. And this is on linen, probably using the call for fibers. It looks like DMC. And finished by me without a backing. So that is the first item I wanted to show you. The second item, I do believe that I finished this one also in either 94 or 95, and I don't have a photo of it. It came as a kit, and it is by Linda Stitley, published in 1989, and it's this little ark. And it says 2 by 2. Let me see if I can get a closer. So that also hung in his room. The next one I do not have the pattern for. I do believe it was a Melon Kit and is long gone, but it is this one with the, I do not believe these are Jabco buttons. I can't remember what the other company is that makes buttons, but they're the ceramic buttons, not the clay buttons. And that has some satin stitch and French knots, if you call those specialty stitches. But that was a cute, easy one. Next, I have one that is a design of Melon, and it came from the book Noah and Company. And all these designs are in this book. Very 90s. And the one that I stitched, does this one have a name? Let me see if I can find the actual name of it. For the Birds. This one is called For the Birds. And here it is in completion. I just made it into a little wall hanging. Stitched on Ada using DMC. Back in the day when I stitched everything with 2 strands of floss, maybe even 3. And then I have one that I finished the stitching but never completely finished. I never fully finished it. It's by Fancy That. It is using Gentle Arts, probably one of the first designs that I ever used fancy floss on. And it is called Noah's Folk Art by Fancy That. And this is stitched on, what is this? Heatherfield, 10 count Heatherfield in the honey colorway. I do remember this was a fun one to stitch, and I don't know why I never FFO'd it. Probably my son got to the stage where he was like, enough with the nose arc. I have one more FFO, but before I pull that out, I thought I would share my FFO folder. I mean my Noah's Ark folder. I can't show you these. I never completed the set. I got the first 4 in the series. It's a series of 26. And it was called the Noah's Ark series. And if you're familiar with Kurt's Bowringer, it just came on cards, a lot of cards like this. No color photo of the finished item. Another pattern that I had high aspirations to stitch but never got to is called 2x2 Sisters and Best Friends. Like, that was adorable. Another Melon Noah's Ark collector. This one is June Grigg Designs Incorporated. A lot of these date back late 80s to the mid 90s. This one's called Noah's Ark, and it was based off of an original watercolor by Joe Beck. More in the pastel tones. And by Sandra Sylvan, Purely Samplers 2x2. Mosey and Me, who I love still. And this one is called The Ark Leaves in 10 Minutes. Another very cute design, kind of in sampler form. Then yet another Melon Private Collection Noah's sampler. And then one of my favorites, very whimsical, another Mosey and Me, Noah and crew making the best of a bad situation. And then lastly, one designed by Jane L. Monroe called And They Left 3 by 3 Under the Rainbow. And for the very last one, I'm going to have to switch the camera around, but I will give you a look at this. It is called 2 by 2, The Story of Noah, and it is designed by none other than Sue Hillis. And it is in book form. In the back. So let me pause right here and figure out how I'm going to show you this piece because it is large. Okay, so I'm going to start off with this center motif. This is no easy feat here. And the center was stitched over 2, all except the animals on the ark, and they were stitched over 1. But the ark and the lower portion, which I'll show you in a moment, was stitched with 4 strands over 2. And this is all in DMC. So that is the center of this piece. And I have to say, the stitching has held up far better than the actual fabric. The fabric has peels to it, pulls in it, and I haven't found a single piece of the stitching that has pulled loose. And this, I did start back in 1995, completed in 2001. So what, it's 17 years old, and surprisingly the stitching has held up very well. Okay, so let's see. We'll start here, well, with the clouds and the lightning, and we'll move on up. Maybe if I stand back here, you can get the fish, the boat with the skunks, and then all the way around every edge, every corner has a cloud in it, and then it goes across to the next cloud, and I will turn and go down this side. Like I said, the smaller sections are done 2 over 1. We get to the bottom corner, and the wording is done 2 over 1 also. Make sure these are right side up. And there it shows where I finished it in 2001. The lions on up to the other side. Back to the top corner. And then to the top again. Okay, so let me pause again, be right back. So in case any of you were wondering and could not read the entire verse, around the edge of the inner design, I will go ahead and read that for you. And God said unto Noah, make thee an ark of wood. Come thou and all thy house with two of every living thing. And God said, behold, set my rainbow in the clouds as a token of everlasting love with all creatures of the earth. So I hope that you enjoyed this segment. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to leave them below, and I will do my best to answer them. I will say about this final piece, it was a joy to stitch. It was very clear directions in this book by Sue Hellis, and even though it took me several years to complete, I'm happy that I did. My son enjoyed it in his bedroom for many years. As a matter of fact, I think, probably around the time he was 10 or 11, he wanted to switch his room, and I'm like, no. I don't care if you are 18, you're gonna have Noah's Ark in your room. Not really, but he did enjoy it for several years in his room, and I consider it probably a lifelong keepsake that I will hold on to it until he is ready to have a family of his own and may want to share it with one of his children. So thank you for watching, and I hope you all are having a wonderful summer, and I will speak to you soon. Bye for now.